Today's recipe is for a simple old-fashioned apple crisp, just the way that I remember my grandmother making it for me. The ingredients you'll need for this recipe are very simple. 8 to 10 apples, 2 teaspoons cinnamon divided, 3 tablespoons white sugar, 1 cup brown sugar, 1 cup old-fashioned oats, half a cup of flour, and 1/2 cup butter chilled that you'll be cutting into cubes. First, you'll need to start by peeling your apples, and the number of apples you need will be based upon the size of the apple. I used Honeycrisp apples. They're my favorite to eat both plain and to cook with. They're a firm and semi-tart apple, but you could use really any firm apple that's out there, and I suggest ones that are a little bit more tart. Adding just a little bit of lemon juice here to help prevent browning on the apples, maybe just a tablespoon or two. Then we're going to make the apples spiced. So we're going to add a couple tablespoons here of that white sugar, giving it a stir, adding in about 1 teaspoon here of cinnamon. And that's it. Really simple for the base. We're going to grease the bottom of our bowl and dump the apples in. Now to make our topping, we need that 1 cup of brown sugar, the remaining 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 cup of old-fashioned oats. I like to use more oats, kind of a 1-to-1 ratio sugar to oats. And then just a half a cup of flour. Now if you use more flour, it'll become more of a crumble instead of a crisp. So if you like more of a cakey feeling, use a little bit more flour. If you like more of a crisp, use more oats. So I like crisp, and so we're using oats. Give that all a good stir, and then you're ready to get started with your butter. Your butter should be chilled, and you want to cut it into some small cubes. I just do this by cutting lengthwise 3 times, and then flipping it and cutting lengthwise 3 times again, and then down the side to make cubes. So you'll see about how big they are here. Throw those in your bowl, and you'll need to cut these in. And cutting something in, it references just kind of pressing the moist ingredient, which is the butter, into the dry ingredient until it becomes almost like a wet sand type of feeling to it. So here I'm using a pastry cutter. If you don't have a pastry cutter, you can always just use a couple forks or even just your hands. I try to start with a pastry cutter because it keeps the butter chilled. Then as I get to the point here where it's starting to be mostly worked in, but I have a few larger clumps, then I will set aside the cutter and I'll use my hands here to just push together the last bigger pieces, making sure it's all soaked up into that dry ingredient. So you can see here, when you squish it together, it's almost like wet sand. Then all that's left is to sprinkle it over the top evenly. And you'll be baking this at 350 degrees for about 40 minutes or until it's golden brown. And it's going to come out bubbly and sweet and golden brown on the top. Serve this with a nice scoop of vanilla ice cream, warm right out of the oven, and you've got a great treat. I hope you enjoyed this recipe and give it a try. Take care. Goodbye.